Hey everyone, so yes, we've got another conference to go through. This time it's the Xbox conference. There was a lot to show off here. It was actually a really good conference this year for Xbox. I had 50 games shown off, 18 of which are exclusive to Xbox. That already straight away rings some alarm bells to me that there's 32 games which you can get on other consoles, but we'll go through and see what you think. Maybe you'll buy them straight on Xbox straight away. Okay, so the first thing shown off was Halo Infinite, which is the new game name for the new Halo game that's coming to Xbox One. Very brief sort of showing off of, I presume, some of the level development. Looks very good, very beautiful, or in beautiful HD. Probably even better when it's in 4K, which is a nice, interesting move. But then we've also briefly shown the head of Master Chief with got his helmet off, his hat holding his hand, and he then puts his helmet back on his head and then appears to put a AI into the back of his helmet. Not clear whether that's Cortana or a new AI, but at least we got a new Halo game coming, which is interesting. We're looking forward to it. Second game shown off was Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the new sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. There was lots and lots of owls. That's all I can say about this. There's like loads of like flying mechanics using owls and moving across the fields, but it looks just as good as the first game. Definitely one to look forward to. I'm sure the first game was great, so we're looking forward to this. Third game shown off was Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice Ninja Samurai game. I put here. So you're effectively a samurai killing things with swords and stuff and jumping on buildings. It looked pretty cool. Again, another nice, well designed theme, like the Japanese buildings all over the place you can jump on and attack from, and it seems quite an in-depth story to that as well. So hopefully that will be interesting when that comes out. They showed off the Fallout 76 trailer here, but I will try and do a bit more in depth of that into the Bethesda section. But briefly here, they just mentioned that Fallout goes MMO. Mass multiplayer online, lots of playing with each other in different areas, and it's also been announced that if you play on your own through this game, it's going to be a lot harder than whether you had a big team of people. So nice, sort of wary because how Elder Scrolls Online started really poor, but it's now sort of starting to develop a bit more over the last year or so. But it looks good. It does look like a Fallout game should look. I'm just a little bit wary that the actual putting it as a multiplayer game may like make it a bit easier to play kind of thing, because the whole point of Fallout is being stuck in this one big area with not a lot to sort of do other than follow these sort of tracks you can see in front of you, and it's one of those being stuck in this sort of area of desert or whatever wasteland. It is part of the Fallout universe, and that sort of does sort of give that sort of feel that you're stuck on your own. What are you going to do now? If I can say, oh, me and my mates will just go and kill everything, takes a little bit of the immersion away from me in theory. But like I said, I'll mention a bit more of that in the Bethesda video. Looks pretty good, so I'm not going to complain until I've had a bit of a go on it. It looks good, but I'm just a little bit wary. Okay, so next one was a long title, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. This is basically played through the eyes of a child, as though he was playing, basically playing his own sort of games outside and things like that. It was very odd, to say the least. It's from the Life is Strange universe, so maybe that will be something that people will be interested in, because Life is Strange did really well when it first came out. I know there's quite a cult following of that game. But yeah, it sort of showed off this one kid and a snowman, which he was dressed up as a superhero, and he put a little firecracker in the real world, put a firecracker in the snowman, and then he sort of aims a firebolt as though he was in a make-believe world kind of thing, and he fires it and it hits, and then the firecracker goes off and the head explodes. And so it's sort of a bit of a weird immersion that you're in the real world and this imaginary world at the same time, and different things will happen. But there's not really much gameplay been shown. I mean, to be honest, there's not been a lot of gameplay shown for a lot of these playthroughs, but that one's a little bit not too sure about, if I'm honest. Not my kind of thing. Maybe people will enjoy it if you played Life is Strange and things like that. But one to look forward to for that. Next was showing Crackdown 3, which had Terry Crews, of all people, just literally just shouting constantly, which was just brilliant, if I'm honest. What more do you need for a celebrity endorsement? His actual character is in the game, whether you play as him or not, I'm not 100% sure. Whether he was just an extra added character to be, doesn't really say. It's a Crackdown game. You go around, you destroy things, you try and uphold the law however one you want. You level up as you go along, you get better abilities, jumping, sprinting, like fighting abilities, things like that. Pretty much the same game, but a bit better graphically, maybe, which looks good, looks interesting. There was lots about driving on walls and up things, and with this special car you can turn it into a tank and all sorts of other weird abilities, which was the craziness of Crackdown was the best parts of it, if I'm honest. I remember the first game was brilliant. It was one of the first games I had on 360, and yeah, it's one of those just you could do whatever you wanted really, and you can do it in whatever order you wanted to do. You don't have to. There's no specific story as such, but you had like 3 or 4 gangs you had to sort of dismantle, and you could do it any way you wanted. But yeah, it's good. It's interesting. I'd like to see what comes out of this. The only damn point is it's been delayed till February 2019, so hopefully we'll see that bit more of that in the coming months, and maybe we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed again. It's been delayed like 2-3 times now. Okay, next was shown Metro Exodus, which is a new entry into the Metro series, which is one I've never really played. I've bought both the Metro games for Xbox, and maybe I should try and play some of those in the future. Maybe something for a live stream series, maybe. I can start playing that on Mixer. If you haven't added me on Mixer, it's Gorny7789. Just check out there, you can find me. I'll leave a link in the description as well. Yes, but it looks interesting. There's lots of like shooting things like that, first person shooter. There's all like trains and things like that. So yeah, I'd like to see what they can do with that. Like I said, I don't really know what more I could say other than that for that game. Next game that I'm interested in is Kingdom Hearts 3. Again, and one that I expect to be mentioned in the Square Enix the section as well the next couple of days. But I thought I'd just give it a bit of a mention here because it showed the Frozen worlds for the first time. Well, there's actually quite a few worlds it showed off for the first time. Toy Story has been mentioned a few times already, but that was shown live action and playing in there. And what that showed, it showed like a boss, I presume a boss fight where Ham, the pig, which is like a piggy bank, he was getting attacked and you had to sort of defend him, kind of thing. Like it showed the cutscene of Sora, Donald and Goofy sort of getting the shield in and stopping the guy from attacking Ham. Which was nice to get in that world, immersed into it. But it showed the Frozen world, and I was like, I've never watched Frozen. I've just heard lots of things about songs and things, and it really just turned me off of that. If I'm honest, I really didn't want to play that part of it. But if it's part of the game, it's part of the game. There's lots been said about the Tangled sections and how it looks pretty much exact to the film in terms of like style and design. Not quite there in terms of like shading and stuff in where it's looking, but at the same time, if you compare a film to the game type pictures, it looks pretty much nearly exactly on. So it is so impressive how graphically stunning this game is looking at the moment. But they've definitely begun that more effort to go into that and show off this like new world and things like that. But the one last one I wanted to sort of mention was the Wreck-It Ralph world, because I just think this leads to so many other potential things happening in this part of the section. Because Wreck-It Ralph is effectively going into video games in the first movie, and he was going into video games altogether, and you could like visit different worlds and things. There was like a shoot 'em up sort of world, and there's like this Princess Bubblegum thing and racetracks and stuff. So I'm just like interested to see if they drag out any other characters from other games into this random world, what they could potentially do with it. I mean, in the film we had like Bowser, Dr. Eggman, Sonic, Street Fighter characters, all sorts of things like Easter eggy chucked in there kind of thing. If they had the potential to do that here just for a small gimmicky couple of Easter eggs and things, that'd be cool. I'd like to see that, but I think it's probably more likely to be based on the Wreck-It Ralph 2 version, which just come out recently as a trailer. but that was more based on like the internet and exploring the internet altogether. So be interesting to see from here how they go from there. Yes, so also shown off in the Kingdom Hearts section, there was also Hercules was shown off, and the Colosseum areas, which were in the both first two games, well, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, not because there are other games in this series, and the whole story is all convoluted everywhere and all over the place, and this is how it all works, and no one knows what's going on unless you bought the whole HD collection recently on PS3, 4, 3, 4, 3, either one. Yeah, unless you've played all through those and maybe sort of connected some of the story together, because originally we had Kingdom Hearts 1, and then we had Chain of Memories, I believe, was on the Game Boy Advance, and then there was other games like in between 365 and a half days and things like that, and so the stories were all over the place because it was like the main games was on the PS2, and then it went on to Game Boy Advance, and then DS, and yeah, it was really weird, really odd game. But it's nice to see the Hercules coming back, and the Colosseum was quite a big area for both games, so good to see that's back. Forza Horizon 4, definitely interested in this one. It's British roads, so all British roads all together, which is nice to see. Mass multiplayer, so you can basically have open areas with loads of people driving around, crashing into things, crashing into each other, doing drift turns and things and showing off, which they did in the actual showing off the gameplay in on the stage. Yeah, pretty cool. No traffic or potholes though, apparently on British roads at all. You know, but yeah, it looks really good. Graphically, again, stunning. Very similar to the previous game, Horizon 3. But yeah, it definitely has that sort of graphical upgrade in a way, in a slight way. You can sort of see so much more of the cars going around when they go around corners. The actual glimmer off the car and stuff is really shining off in different areas and things. They've always looked beautiful in the Forza series, and they've really done themselves proud here, I think. The seasons also change in gameplay, so it wasn't really mentioned whether it was realistic, so whatever is happening now, or whether it's just like it will change randomly after so many hours in game. It didn't quite say, but basically they showed off the spring and the summer first areas, then they moved it into like an autumn time, and all of a sudden in the actual arena they had like leaves coming from the ceiling and hitting all the crowd that was watching. So that was a nice weird move, but it was cool. But yeah, like the season changing things makes the different tracks things happen on different tracks. Like some areas you could have blocked off completely. There's also like driving on ice was shown off in like the winter areas. So like when big massive lakes are all covered in normally covered in ice, you can literally just slide all over those and do drifts and things. That's quite a nice little idea. I like that. But it looks a good game, and I'd probably be one I'll look at in future. So, a big news from Xbox. They've actually bought four studios of game developers, and they created the Initiative, which is their new studio. And I think they basically marked all these four mini studios together into this Initiative project. The ones that were bought by Xbox was the Undead Labs, which is makers of State of Decay 1 and 2. Playground Games, makers of Forza Horizon, and they also will be working on other titles for Xbox. Ninja Theory, the creators of Hellblade, and they also worked on the Devil May Cry series, so that's interesting. And Compulsion Games, the creators of the game We Happy Few, the game where everyone's on these happy drugs, and it follows the plot of a character who refuses to take them and feels like depression and things like that, and how he deals with it in escaping this happy world. It's got that very Bioshock sort of vibe to it, and it's very, very interesting. And I've played a few of the trailers and demos of this game, and it's very interesting what they could do with it in terms of actual level and character design. But I just think on gameplay it was sort of falling a little bit flat when I played it on the actual demo. But it's got potential, so hopefully they can do something with that in the future. But yeah, it's all over. That's probably a very good move, because first party games are Xbox's sort of main problem at the moment. It's they don't really have enough like series out there which they can keep putting new titles on. I mean, you've got Halo, you've got Gears of War, and you've got Forza, and those three like they'll always try and plug more and more of those three areas. It's nice to see Crackdown making a comeback, which is another big Xbox exclusive title. But I think there are some other interesting, like Cuphead being one of the ones that sort of, it's actually indie but it's exclusive to Xbox. There's a lot of that in this sort of a whole show as well. But it's interesting that they are moving to have more in-house first-party titles coming from these studios in the future. But how long is it going to take for these ones to develop a new game for Xbox or for Microsoft Store? So it's a good move, but this is going to be like a 3-4 year project thing for all of these studios to come up with something in a way. But at the same time, you've also got like State of Decay 2's already come out recently, and you've also got We Happy Fews in the pipeline still, and I suppose they are working on titles already with Xbox, but there's also some weird things underlining here. What more are they going to do? So let's move into the next game they showed off, was The Division 2. Yeah, so it's like the first one, apocalyptic. The whole. But to be fair, this is what I wanted to mention. That most of the trailers I've seen for these games, like these random games, are like mostly third-party stuff. Every game's apocalyptic. Everything's like gone to shit, and all of a sudden someone else has had to deal with it. So, and we're that someone else. It's kind of weird how many of them just seem to pop up out of nowhere. But okay, we'll go with it. But yeah, so Division 2, it's basically the United States has collapsed. There's been issues and problems everywhere. Everyone's exploded. And there's fights everywhere to try and get territory and things like that. And you're one of the groups trying to take over one of these territories. And they showed off a gameplay trailer of the game so far. And it was really cringy. It was like you was actually in the army saying, Roger, Bravo, Delta, yes, let's go over here, let's go there, yeah, I've got this gun, I'll use this gun, yeah. It just wasn't natural at all. It doesn't feel natural. And they've done this a few times in trailers and things before. I know Ubisoft had sort of struggled with it in previous titles. I think Rainbow Six Siege was one of the ones they did previous year, maybe the year before. But it's just this, it doesn't feel natural, and it's not what gamers do. We just let's be honest, there's always when you're on the microphones to people, there's always like something weird going on in the background. Someone's got music on, just playing loudly in the background. Someone's mum just walked in and said, "What, get off that console, we want to watch TV," or something like that. You know, you never get the whole Roger, Bravo thing. You know, it never happens. And the way they keep pushing it out as that, it just doesn't work for me. The problem with this as well altogether is the pacing for so far up to here was great. They literally had game, and then it got to Division 2 and they're just like, yeah, here's this game, and we'll show it off up to this, and this is how we do this, and this is how, and it just really slowed the pace down. It wasn't good. It's just like it should have been filled somewhere else. It seems like it just shoved it in last minute, and I think that will really diminish how well it will do in the future. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider is coming to Xbox as well. So another Tomb Raider game. Will she actually raid any tombs this time? I do not know, because the last two wasn't much actual tomb raiding going on. I think that's my sort of problem with the latest showings of Tomb Raider. It's not like the originals where like you actually had to go and explore different things and find different secrets and areas and fight giant monkeys and wolves and things, and you had that sort of free aiming, running and gunning sort of aspect to it. And cameras wise, it was always a nightmare. But in this game, they've improved it dramatically. But the problem with this altogether, it just reminds me of, it's more of a Gears Tomb Raider than the actual Tomb Raider. There's lots of ducking and diving and shooting over the top of things. It doesn't seem like a Tomb Raider game to me anymore. It just seems like another generic shooter, like third-person shooter, and I think it really doesn't work in my opinion. But you may have other opinions about it. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but I just don't think it's a Tomb Raider game anymore. I think it's just its own development. Yeah, I like that they've changed things up and there's something different, and they're following different stories of Lara and things like that. But it just isn't really Tomb Raider to me. I think they could do another series along with one of the funniest parts of the whole show. Skateboards was shown in a game in like a trailer, and suddenly the chats everywhere goes, "Is this skate? Is this skate? Is it skate? 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 So skate?" And then no, it wasn't a skate. It was a game called Session, which is very similar, but I've been told not very good skating game. So yeah, it's not Skate, and it is another skateboard game which some people might like, but I have been told it's not very good. So it's on the PC version anyway. So yeah, if you like skateboarding, you might enjoy it, but you know, it's one of those. Big announcement, the next one. Devil May Cry 5 is coming to Xbox. One that really did shock me was that they said on the stage, it's been 10 years since Devil May Cry 4. I was like, wow, that's a long old time. I was not expecting that at all. I think this was sort of related to the Ninja Theory acquisition, because they worked on the previous game, and I think from getting that studio through off Capcom working as the third party I think is a good idea from Xbox to buy them and support the Devil May Cry series further. So good to see that coming back. The trailer was pretty cool. There's lots of like big monsters eating cars and things like that. Showed off a bit of like gunning and slashing sort of aspect of most traditional Devil May Cry games. If you're into like Bayonetta and things like that, you'll probably enjoy this game as well. If you've never played a Devil May Cry series game, highly recommend giving the previous ones a go, definitely. But yeah, Ninja Theory probably going to be working on this one as well, so at least they've got the studio set up already and bought the studio, so good move. And Dante does appear at the end of the trailer as a sort of very old man looking granddad kind of thing, so that's quite funny. That seems to be floating around Twitter at the moment as Granddad Dante. So Cuphead is next one. DLC, the delicious last course. Well done, DLC. Let's see what you did there. Well, I got you, you know. So they showed off a new character, which is this girl jug thing. Yes, a new character, new island with extra levels and more bosses and things in there. So everything you want from a DLC part of Cuphead. Beautiful game, great game, really tough. Probably one of the most challenging games on Xbox at the moment, if I'm honest. Definitely very difficult. But yeah, more is welcome. Definitely more of that. Right, another weird title. We weren't really expecting. Jump Force. Bandai Namco have had many of the anime series locked under key for the many years now for the actual anime licenses and fighting games. For instance, like Dragon Ball Z Fighters is the latest one for them. But they've had the Budokai series before that, and Xenoblade, not Xenoverse. That's Xenoverse. Yeah, that's it. With 1 and 2 for the Dragon Ball games. But they've also had the licenses for One Piece and Naruto, amongst many other animes. So yeah, it's rather than do multiple games for those individual series, they've decided to just mash them all together into this one game. So it's a good move. I think it's a good idea. And they showed off areas were actually like real world areas. So they showed like New York Square, New York Center Square, and it was all sort of explosions and things going off, and like Frieza, Goku turns up, is it Lofty from One Piece, and Naruto and things like that. So everyone's all fighting together, fighting against each other, and I'd like to see what they do with that, and if there's what the story mode was in, that would be more interesting to me, because they've always done the story modes really well in these games. So, and had like the original actors come in and do the actual voice acting, and it's interesting again whether they would do the Japanese voices and the English voices. I know a lot of people like to listen to the Japanese voices while having subs in there rather than the actual English voices sometimes. So it's good if they do that. That's cool. No complaints here. So. May pick that one up, not sure. I've got Dragon Ball Fighters, which is a great game if you've not played it yet. I did a video on that, so have a look at my list somewhere, you'll find it if you've not played it yet. So cool. We've got Dying Light 2. Like the look of this. Yeah, it looks interesting. I've not played the first Dying Light game, so Yeah, so this was basically you make choices in the game and they affect how the level designs going forward and how the game plays in the future, which is pretty cool actually. I like the way they sort of did that. I like the fact that they showed the one choice you made here and how it affects two parts of the game. So if you choose to join this group, you become a mercenary group and have to like, save the whole area yourself, and you know you're in charge of things and you make the decisions. Or you can not at the start not go with this group, and all of a sudden you've got like a police force who are taken over and putting in a lot more security areas and things like that, and you've got like too much police in that problem, that they go too heavy on people and stuff like that. But it's like that was just one decision of many you could make, and it affects the whole game and how you do it. It's very like Mass Effect-esque in a way, and I did like that. I did like sort of multiple like tree events and how what things could happen and stuff like that. That's definitely going to be one I'm going to look into in the future. And I've never played Dying Light 1, so if it's very similar, please let me know, and I will probably check that one out very soon. Oh man, Battletoads. Who would expect to get a Battletoads game in 2018 or 2019, as it's going to be coming out next year? Not very much shown off, other than a few sound effects and a title of Battletoads just on the screen. But I think that's enough to get everyone from the SNES era who played Battletoads or who've recently played the Killer Instinct. So whatever one that was in that Killer Instinct is, maybe that's some sort of thing there. They put him in, and lots of people were interested in that. So maybe that's why they've made this game going forward. Battletoads originally was like one of the hardest SNES games there was. So yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what they do with this. Difficulty, they've done well already with Cuphead, so maybe they'll do something similar to that. Very similar game in a way. But yeah, great to see. I'm really looking forward to it. A couple of little bits here and there. Just Cause 4 is coming. Yeah, not much more I could say about that other than that. And Tales of Vesperia. It's a game which Tales of series has been loads of games for years. But it's good to see this one coming. PS4 and Switch is also coming to that as well. A lot of these games mentioned are actually coming to all consoles as well. Only 18 of the 50 are exclusive to Xbox. So there's a good 2/3 of the ones that were announced which are coming to other consoles or PCs. So big announcements near the end. 3 new games coming. So Gears of War, Funko Pop Gears Mobile. Okay, very odd indeed. If you like the Funko Pop collection sort of things, like the little figures with the bobbly heads and the little beady eyes, if you like that sort of thing, collecting them, I'm sure you'll enjoy this game. It's only a mobile game, so let's be wary. But yeah, this is a nice crossover game, I suppose. They also showed like a XCOM style Gears Tactics game, so very Halo Wars-esque in a way, I suppose the best way to sort of describe it as well. So very like taking different areas and moving around, and yeah, it's a very, very weird tactical game. I think this was mobile as well, and I think it was possibly coming to Xbox 2, so not really sure, not much was said. And then they also showed a few like little trailers of Gears of War 5 coming in the future as well. There was sort of like skating on ice via a giant boat, and talking with Marcus Phoenix in the actual like, base area between the lady and him. And there's more about who this lady is. She seems to be like one of the main characters you're going to be. With it's another big black guy. He seemed pretty cool as well, and his design. So yeah, I look forward to it. Yeah, cool. I've enjoyed the Gears series for a while. I mean, I did miss the 4th game. Yes, 4th, 5th game, whatever it was. Because there's one in between somewhere. I missed one of them. But I played like the original trilogy, and they're just fantastic games or whatever. And it's made for co-op play. So hopefully there's a bit more in how co-op play works, and it is like horde mode coming back and things like that. That's things we need to know. So come on, Xbox, tell us. So the final little tidbits again. New Xbox being worked on. Pretty much we going to know that's going to happen. So Xbox X2, I guess, or Xbox 2. I don't know. They might just change the name altogether. Who knows? But they're working on it now. And then with the whole stage got hacked over by CD Projekt Red's new game, which is Cyberpunk 2077, I think. Basically, a very Cyberpunk-esque, spacey game, but it was just beautiful looking. It was really stunning. Honestly, I've never seen such a better looking game, and there's lots of different weapons and abilities, and like using space flight and cars and flying cars and things, and yeah, it's interesting. It sort of reminded me of a lot of the old 80s and early 90s like space films. It kind of in a way it reminded me of like Fifth Element in the Bruce Willis film. It was very that sort of style and weird haircuts and things and stuff like that. It was really cool. I really like the idea of it. I don't think there's many games that have used the cyberpunk idea before. I mean, I know Far Cry had their own sort of cyberpunk-esque game, and that kind of worked in design really well, but not so much in gameplay. So it's interesting to see what they do with this, and they've had previous credentials with The Witcher 3, which was apparently brilliant. I've never played it. I've never played Witcher 3. People keep moaning at me for it, but I've never played it. But I've been told it's a really good game, and there's lots to it, and hopefully they can build on that and make this game as just as big and amazing. So it looks amazing in terms of the trailer. So hopefully we can see more from that in the future. So, like footnote as well, there was tons of indies, absolutely tons of indies showing off here, which was great to see. There's so many more fantastic studios getting that opportunity to work with Xbox now, and same with other groups now. Like there was lots showing off in the EA showcase as well, because they're working with their own indie teams and things like that as well. So it's cool. It's good to see. More indie developed games coming in the future. I'm happy with that. Really pushing the Xbox Pass as well for the Games Pass. I tried to explain this online the other day, and people just got, well, one person in particular, got really stressed out with it. The fact I was like trying to explain it to people, and it was like they're really pushing the Xbox Pass at the moment, because it's this get all 100 games plus for what, £10, £9.99, £10, maybe a little bit more than that. Good deal. There's a few problems with this though. It's like, how long is this going to stay at that price? They could put it up at any time, and you might have to increase your subscription. Okay, annoying. You're already paying 40 quid a year for Xbox Live. Why is it not included with Xbox Live? That is my biggest like gripe with it, if I'm honest. Even if you had to increase the price of Xbox Live to warrant getting those in, maybe you could do a joint on policy of having both. Maybe you could save yourself some X amount on one of them to have both of them as a bundle. Maybe that's something that needs to be worked on there. I thought that was a good idea. Some other people were like, whatever. But the main reason why they're pushing this so much is the fact they want to get so many more people playing their games and coming to their console. And this is the easiest way to do it, in a way. To get, if you've not bought an Xbox before, get this pass and you can play 100 games straight away. So you don't have to worry about buying them for 40 quid, or even if they're cheaper on the store, or finding them bootleg somewhere in some keck shop or something, or in games bargain basement somewhere. But it's like, it's how long are they going to keep this open for? If Xbox, is there a new Xbox coming in the future and they close down this in 2-3 years time, all those games you were playing before you can't go back to. So what was the point of it? I mean, I like having physical games myself. I've got a lot of download games on Xbox, to be fair, and lots of them are from the gold games of gold, so you've got loads of free games anyway. But at the same time, I like having the physical editions and the fact that you can always go back and play them again, re-download them onto your Xbox or delete them off and things like that. So you've got that security, the fact you can go back to it. But it's like, this digital age of gaming is going to be frustrating when eventually they decide, no, we don't want to support anymore, so the servers go down, you can't play those games. It's going to happen. It might take 10-20 years for that to happen. I might be just talking, it might not ever happen. But it's one of these things I sort of worry about with these passes kind of things. It's like, if you suddenly lost all access to those 100 games, and even if you're in the middle of playing one, for example, you might not necessarily want to do it. And I'm the same with EA's pass as well, the same sort of thing. And I just don't see why I need to pay £120 plus a year to pay for these 100 games when I could just buy one game every couple of weeks or so, or every month, and enjoy that. I always prefer having the physical edition and having the sort of the fact that I've got that physical access and security, the fact I can still play it again if I want to any time. No like having to re-download it and spend another like hour or two waiting for another download, or if it's a big game like they just announced that they're going to have the Master Chief Collection on this download thing, which is an 80 gigabyte game if you download everything on there. That doesn't take long, does it? Well, it does take long to download all of them. You're talking a few hours at least. So that's the other problem with this. It's just so much time spent waiting and downloading and updating, and Xbox has had a massive problem with this in since the console's been out, if I'm honest, in the last 5 years. So it's struggling. The other problem that Xbox has got is the Xbox One X. It is a great console. I'm not going to knock that. It's a great console, and it's fantastic if you own a 4K TV. I don't own a 4K TV. I'm going to be buying one soon, I'm sure. But that's a good £300-400 straight away. If I'm going to buy the Xbox One X, there's another £300-400 I'm going to spend on that. Even if I trade in a previous console, I'm not going to get very much for that. So we're talking like £600 to £750 just for the console and a TV. Because everyone's like saying, well, you can play it on HD TV. I can play a standard one on a HD TV. Why do I need the Xbox One X? There's nothing different in terms of you need a 4K TV for it to look better. That's the problem. That is the whole point of having this console, to play it on a 4K TV. So I just don't get the argument. It's like it basically is a premium console. They've sold 5 million in like a year. The Switch has sold 18 million in a year and a half. So it doesn't seem to be working for them. A 5 million is still a decent amount in the last like year and a half or 2 years, but it just isn't going to get everyone involved. If there's a small family on a budget, you're not going to pay £750 for this and a TV. It just won't work. That's why the Switch has done so well in the last year and a half, because it's a free £400 console with games, and you've got 2 controllers with it straight away for kids to play. So the Xbox as well, you're going to get 1 controller, £50 for another one. This is the problem. There are so many problems with the way they're doing it, and they wonder why their console sales are diminishing. That's why. There's too much money going into it. It's too expensive for people. So hopefully they sort of look into this in the future and we go from there, and who knows, maybe it will be all sorted and there'll be no problems whatsoever. But I think overall the whole showcase of games ahead was excellent. They've done exactly what they needed to do. They definitely wanted to bring those first party games back to the console and reasons to own this console. There's 18 reasons there, if 18 games, and they've got more first party titles to come from the new studios. So they're definitely doing the right things. But whether it's too little too late is the problem. There's too many people moving away to PS4 now. There's 3 times the sales rate have gone to PS4 compared to Xbox One. So that's crazy. That's like they're not nearly 80 million consoles for PS4, and the Xbox is on 25 million to 30 million from the last estimates. So because they don't officially announce them anymore. So interesting to see how they do. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Sorry it was such a long video. I'll try and cut up the best I can to try and shorten it, but I just wanted to get everything I could think about for this conference out. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm definitely looking forward to a lot of these games from Xbox, and I hope you are too. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting on previous videos and stuff. And if you want to comment on this one, I will always reply to comments. So thank you very much for tuning in. Subscribe if you wish. So you can subscribe up there. The box there. There. Press that there. Yeah, and then that's cool. So subscribe, and you can check out for all the other videos from E3. Next is Bethesda. I've got to rewatch that one because I've not watched it yet. So I might do a recording while watching kind of thing. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. But my webcam went a bit funky last time I did that for the Pokemon video. So hopefully it's okay now. But we'll see. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you at the Bethesda video. Ciao for now. Bye.